How do we balance life? How do we balance work? How do we balance family and or relationships? And how do we actually prioritize ourselves amongst all of those things? I do understand how busy life can be on a daily basis. And I understand that what happens is that we get into a programmed reactionary state on a daily basis, and we have these habits that play out that makes us feel like we need to be reacting to the things that seem important in the moment, but they're not necessarily important. They're actually only urgent. And so what happens then is we start to become very busy. We develop a habit of thinking and feeling and behaving where we believe that we should be busy to be productive, which is actually not the case. And so what I want to suggest is that the way to become more efficient, more productive, more disciplined at the things that you want to achieve in your life, to be able to become more productive, more relaxed, feel more in control, feel the balance of chemistry and hormonal profiles and neurochemistry in your brain and body. Famous metaphor is that if you're on a plane, when the oxygen masks drop from the roof, if you go into a distressed fight or flight response, then you're told, don't go and try and help everybody else first. Don't try and put the oxygen mask on your kids first, because halfway through you may die from not having enough oxygen yourself, and therefore you can't provide anything to anybody else anyway. And so what I'm trying to say is that oxygen, literally, figuratively and metaphorically, is what you need for yourself first as the fuel to be able to deal with all of those other things in your life. To be able to deal with your work and your home life, you better make sure that you're at your best. You better make sure that you've put fuel in the engine of your car. And I'm speaking, yes, physical fuel, nutritional fuel, but I'm also talking about fuel in the form of, yes, oxygen, but fuel in the form of making sure that you are prioritized, that this vehicle is taken care of. Are you serving this vehicle? Are you serving and supporting your vehicle to be able to do the things that you're demanding of it? So, as the question states, how do I balance all of those things in my life? And I would say that a lot of people, because they've developed a lot of unconscious programs and habits in the way that they operate on a daily basis, if you're like most people, then you will know that you don't have any knowledge, any training, any programming for you to be able to implement those processes for yourself. In fact, in today's society, we're taught the opposite of what it is that we need to do to stay in harmony for our mind, our body, and our nervous system to be in a balanced state. And we're not in a balanced state. It's been estimated that 99% of people on planet Earth exist in a fight-flight nervous system response 70% of the day. And that's completely unnatural. We are the only species on Earth that spends 70% of our lives in a state of stress and fight and flight reactionary responses and habits of reacting to our environment. Now, what happens when we do that is we start to get stuck in these programs like a hamster on the wheel. And what we need to do is we need to say, no, I'm going to break those habits of reacting and responding to urgent things. And I'm going to place my attention on me so that I can make myself the best that I can be, so that I can then tackle the things and the challenges in my life that I need to overcome at my optimum best. That's exactly the same as making sure that with your car, you're making sure your car is at its optimum best. It's serviced on a regular basis. It has fuel on a regular basis. You're checking the air in the tires on a regular basis. You're making sure that everything is running properly. There's oil in the gearbox so the gears aren't grinding. Now, we're aware of this with everything in our life, except for ourselves. And it's only because we've been unconsciously programmed by other unconscious people in our lives to behave and react and respond to the world around us the same as them. And all of those people that programmed us and influenced us and set us up with what we have now. Yes, they gave us good things, but yes, we know that there was some bad habits that were programmed there into us, into our family, into our culture, and into our collective culture as humanity. And so what we need to do is break those habits of reacting and responding to things out of urgency and from a fight, flight response. Because we know through neuroscience research that in a fight, flight response, you literally restrict the amount of oxygen, blood flow into the brain. You actually shut down 90% of the brain when you're in a fight, flight, stress response, and you're reacting from that reptilian brain, which can only fight or run away from what's happening. And that can create dire consequences in your life. So what I'm suggesting is that if you train yourself to develop these habits, to program your nervous system, to program the neural networks of how your brain thinks and operates, and to start to change the direction of the chemistry of your body so that you're feeling strong, confident, happy and at your best, I guarantee you that there is countless research that backs up the fact that when human beings are relaxed and happy, they operate at their optimum. And there is irrevocable truth and facts within research that teaches us that meditation and breath work is the bridge for us to cross from where we are to where we want to be so that we can have more control, not just over ourselves and what we think and what we feel, but so that we can have more influence over our life and the way that our life plays out for us. That when you prioritize yourself and when you put yourself first, you are putting fuel in the vehicle of your mind and body that you're demanding to go long distances for people that you love and care for. So I suggest that if you want to reach your destinations, you all must make sure that you are prioritizing yourself first as number one and putting your oxygen on before you go and help anybody else. Your brain and nervous system is a miraculous piece of machinery. In fact, your brain and your nervous system is the most sophisticated piece of machinery that has ever been created on Earth, even more so than artificial intelligence or an aeroplane. Human beings have not even been able to replicate the complexity of just one human eye, let alone the entire human organism. So I want you to know that you're a magnificent piece of machinery and you're a magnificent creature that has unlimited potential to create anything that it wants in its life.